Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleague Jim Patterson. Jim will be today's presenter and will discuss the topic of leveraging AI for smarter and more effective strategic portfolio management with OnePlan. This webinar is a new addition to our series of strategic portfolio management webinars, so if you enjoy this video, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thank you, Robert, and welcome everybody. We're really excited to present this topic to you today. We're really at a transitional point with artificial intelligence and also in portfolio management with the aspects of strategic portfolio management. And today we're going to talk about bringing those things together and leveraging AI for smarter and more effective strategic portfolio management and take advantage of these exciting new technologies that are available to us to help us get better. So, we've come a long way with traditional project and portfolio management practices over the last couple decades. But in today's business environment, the analysts like Gartner, et cetera, are stressing the importance of implementing more strategic portfolio management capabilities in this current modern business environment that we're in, just because of the dynamics of it. One is there is a more rapid and increasing pace of change and increasing complexity in our business environments. And as we have to respond to that dynamic, and there are more uncertainties in our organizations and we have to be responsive quicker, we have to seek better ways to manage risk, optimize our portfolios, and align with our strategic goals to make sure that when we do adjust, that we're staying on course with where we want to go as an organization. So it becomes a lot more complex in order to do that, and strategic portfolio management adds additional dimensions for that. There's also greater need for financial and resource optimizations, meaning we still try to do more than we can with the budget and the resources that we often have. And we've got to get better at identifying and prioritizing the most critical projects of investment and allocate resources to the things that will maximize our return and also be aligned with the goals that we have and the strategies we have for our organizations. Also, demand for data-driven decision-making. Everything is becoming more data-driven these days, and analytical tools become a competitive advantage, or if we don't have them, a disadvantage to us. And there's a growing demand for this kind of data to make good decisions and timely decisions. And we need that analytics and strategic portfolio management to get insights into our portfolio performance and also make informed decisions on how to adjust, redirect, what not to do, maybe what to cancel, what to take on. Those types of decisions are important, and we have to make them in an informed and timely basis. And then there's the ever-increasing adoption of Agile and other project management methodologies that are hybrid or whatever it might be. And a lot of these things are team-driven. They are enabling and empowering the teams to be self-directed and do the things that need to be done to deliver. Yet, when you do that, it does not abdicate the need for portfolio management, so leadership can have visibility and they can have the information they need and to make decisions to adjust and redirect the organization as a whole. So we need some ability to ensure that project portfolios are aligned with the strategic goals of the organization and that we don't waste money on things like overlap and duplication or allocating resources to things that aren't a priority to the organization. And then emerging technologies and business models. With this age of digital transformation, there are new business models, way of reaching our customers, things that are more digital in their nature, and we can't just stay put. And our executives have to find new opportunities and challenges for our organizations to tackle and ways to go to our customers. And we need to provide a framework to evaluate and prioritize these opportunities and ensure that they're aligned with the overall strategy and that we're not missing opportunities that we should be taking advantage of. So these are just some of the dimensions as to why strategic portfolio management and the advance to that is important. Now, Gartner did a survey about the need for data-driven decision-making and portfolio optimization. And in that survey, the lighter blue indicates what percentage of the respondents actually had these items or these challenges in their top 5. The dark blue inset was how many or what percentage of these respondents actually had these topics in their number 1 spot as the top driver that they had. And if we look at the number 1 was collaborate across groups to align strategy, meaning as we go through digital transformation as an organization, we do have departments and we do have silos in our organizations at times that sometimes have competing priorities or maybe different perspectives on priority. And being able to have them all march in the same direction to the same overarching strategies and objectives of an organization takes some doing. And having that capability with strategic portfolio management is something that is a pain point that gets addressed. Execution of large enterprise-wide initiatives. Now, once again, cross-functional, right? It's different parts of the organization, different business units, different departments. And the idea to coordinate everybody with a common vision and alignment to what we should be marching towards is a challenge for many of these organizations, as exemplified by this selection. And tied for third was quick and effective portfolio prioritization, meaning as we hit all these changes in this rapidly changing business climate that we have, being able to do those things is paramount for us to be successful and even to survive as an organization and remain competitive as well. And also project, program, and/or portfolio management, meaning we might have large programs within our portfolios that are made up of a number of different initiatives that all have to align and come together or be interrelated in some way. And that gets complex, and strategic portfolio management will help us address these. So what Gardner defines as strategic portfolio management is a set of business capabilities, processes, and supporting portfolio management technology. Now, to get that overarching view, it is moving more away from those departmental project management or program management offices, more to a trend towards enterprise portfolio or program management offices, EPMOs. And the idea here is to provide enterprise-wide strategy to execution, alignment, and adaptation, meaning, once again, that whole idea of having us all marching to a common set of priorities and strategies. Now, SPM, or strategic portfolio management technology and solutions, is more than just taking our projects and initiatives and aligning them with the strategies that our leadership has set out for us. It's also the associations and the dependencies or the relations or the factoring in of business capabilities, investments, programs, digital and physical products that we have to consider potentially upgrade, and the applications and the projects themselves. All these things have a dimension into whether or not we prioritize something, whether or not we select something or deselect something, or things we have to factor in and touch in order to be successful with the overall initiative. Now, a complete SPM solution must capture and define and prioritize the business strategies, the execution of the initiatives and the projects, and then the alignment with the core assets and things in the organization that need to be factored in. So there's 3 key stakeholders in this process. There's leadership, who sets the direction or the overall strategies. There's the IT and functional management, who owns the critical assets that support all these things. And then the execution teams that have to plan and deliver the projects and the initiatives to achieve those business goals and tangibly derive them. Now, OnePlan, as the solution we're going to talk about today, is designed to support strategic portfolio management as a complete solution for the enterprise. And there's a strategic part of this, which the business leaders have to define. There's an area within OnePlan that allows us to develop strategies or objectives and key results, or OKRs, or maybe if you're doing more value stream management, to establish those value streams that we will march to on more of a continuous delivery basis. And the idea is to set that overarching framework for the rest of the organization. Now, the execution leaders, they're the ones with the initiatives and the work efforts that support those strategies, or ideally are supposed to be aligned with and supporting those strategies. There may be more, adaptive pieces that are more projects with different methodologies and frameworks. Professional services automation, or PSA, that might be delivering efforts towards our end customers and providing services for them. There may be our agile efforts for software development or more product development efforts that our execution leaders are deriving, but all those efforts should be lined back to those strategies that the business leaders have developed. And on the technology side, our functional leaders really own the enterprise architecture of the systems and solutions and that are within our organizations, as well as the application portfolio management, because in this digital age, the applications we have, and are they keeping pace with where we want to go as an organization, have to be factored into this equation for us to be successful. So if we think about OnePlan, just from the capabilities and how they align with roles and a process flow in an organization, just from the initial formulation or even intake of this, right? There's strategic planners in our organization that build the strategy. Say our executives come up with strategies or objectives and key results for us to march to. The ideas themselves that could come from a variety of places in the organization or come externally, even from our customers, that allow us to evaluate opportunities that we should be considering to take on as far as our active portfolio of projects and initiatives. And then there's that enterprise architecture, those applications and business capabilities and products that we might have to align with in order to achieve those strategies, all that have to be factored in. So in the upfront strategic planning piece, there's things to consider. Then there's the portfolio managers. You know, once we have candidates of things that we want to do and active things in flight that we are doing, these portfolio managers got to look at the overarching picture, where we might have overall portfolio planning on the tracking of the status and what we are going to embark upon from initiatives, and then how those are tracking and how our investments are tracking, and provide information for course correction. There's the overall resource capacity planning that factors in from very early on in the process as we take on these things in our portfolio onto executing while these projects are in flight and these resources are applied to them. And then there's the investment piece. Do we have the dollars to do this? Prioritizing where our investments should be, and then tracking, is the spend on those investments going as we anticipated, or do we have to make adjustments from a financial perspective as well? Now, moving on to that overarching plan into the execution where the rubber meets the road and the work is actually being done. We have plan managers. Those might be resource managers, project managers, scrum masters, product owners that are working on these deliveries. We might have more waterfall types of work plans that are built. We might have more agile plans that are done to do more iterative things. And OnePlan supports both of those things and both of those modes of operation, as well as has connector technology so that if you're using other planning tools available, both whether they be more waterfall planning tools or more agile planning tools, there are connectors to bring that data in and fold that into the portfolio in a seamless fashion. And the team members, the folks that actually have to provide status and actually do the work themselves, they have to have tools like providing time tracking so that we can log time to do things like capitalization, like chargebacks, like billing to external customers, or just a my work function so they can provide status to organizations that this is what we're working on, this is what we've accomplished, and even be able to look at maybe from a prioritized fashion from an organization perspective, what I should be working on first and what I should be tackling before other things. And then on the delivery side, how do we keep our finger on the pulse of this to make sure that we deliver and get the outcomes that we're looking for? Well, executives might be looking for status reports on individual initiatives as a natural output from OnePlan. They may be dashboards that look at multi-dimensional things on how we're doing from a delivery perspective, a resource perspective, a financial perspective, all in comprehensive dashboards so they can have good decision support. And as we talked about, those interrelations between strategies and initiatives and even the enterprise architecture elements, to be able to visualize in a graphical way how these things all tie together and how they may be associated with one another could impact our decision making, as well as the ability to redirect when we need to. Now, our topic today is about artificial intelligence, and it makes it exciting because artificial intelligence can take this complex interrelation and actually do more analysis than we can do on our own, or definitely more quickly than we can do it on our own, and even provide us insights on things that we may not have even considered. And that's an exciting part of this, the new dimension that's being added here through OnePlan today. Now, the other piece in the benefit is not just as an organization and projects and portfolios and delivering. There's different parts of an organization that can benefit from all this. Yes, we talked about the project management office, but we have large innovation and transformation programs going on in organizations. Information technology always has initiatives that they have to consider and decide on and execute on. There's application and product development. There's professional services that may be delivering services by delivering our products to our customer bases. There's sales and marketing that may have, campaigns and effectiveness that they need to improve on and projects around that. And just general operations, which has to be improved and modified over time, and try to find efficiencies in the use of resources in the most effective way. So there's a functional dimension of this from a departmental perspective going horizontally across an organization that OnePlan is designed to address. So let's bring in this concept of AI and that evolution and its use in strategic portfolio management. OnePlan AI really is in a place where we are now leveraging this stuff for real, in a real-time way. In the past and previously, there were integrations that brought things together to help us be smarter by bringing different data elements together from different aspects and different solutions so that we can get better information at our fingertips and have certain applications leverage knowledge and information that were in other applications. And then we moved on to some automation where we might have scripts to automate business process, to help streamline efficiencies and maybe help take the guesswork out of things, where things should be routed or what should be done next. Those types of things were available to us and have been available to us for a while. And then on the AI-based suggestive reporting, predictive analytics have been in a lot of the major reporting and business analytics types of solutions out there to date, and might give us some information and analysis based upon data sets that are out there for reporting and dashboards, etc. But where we're at now today, and with the advent of this more conversational and language-based, natural language-based AI, this assistant where we have inbuilt AI assistance into the tools that we're using, and this includes OnePlan that we're going to talk about here today, is really where we're at now, where we can actually use this in a variety of ways and ask it questions to help guide us and give us suggestions and even help develop things for us to help us get on the right track based upon its experience, its knowledge, and the things that it can tap into that it might consider much more readily than we could. Now, there's a future mode, which we're not at yet, where AI would be fully autonomous for strategic portfolio management and would start anticipating and doing things on a more automated basis. But we're not there yet. But what we are at is an exciting time where we can do things more effectively, more quickly, and get insights that we never had before. So say hello to OnePlan's Sofia GPT. Sofia is the name of our, let's just call it AI as a collaborator, our partner in doing this. It's a revolutionary new language model for strategic portfolio and work management that leverages Azure OpenAI GPT, which was developed by OnePlan to revolutionize the way people manage their strategic portfolio and work. It really is designed so that it can understand natural language questions, respond to you in real time, and really helps you streamline the strategic planning and the decision-making process. It can leverage data not only from OpenAI's large network of data sources that are out there, for those of you that have dabbled in that, but also from OnePlan specific data itself. So it's taking that knowledge along with the real-time data of what's in your portfolio and your work management, your resource management, and providing you with answers that compiles from all of that. Now, OnePlan Sofia GPT automates several tedious and time-consuming tasks. Data entry, information retrieval, communications, estimating, identifying, finding data anomalies, and others that we're going to go through here a little bit today. But be assured that we're not using ChatGPT or the general OpenAI that's out there. We are using Microsoft's Azure OpenAI, which is bounded with its Microsoft's own trust, security, and compliance, and very secure environment, along with your ability to choose how much of this you want to leverage when you're using OnePlan. So it's fully at your control how much of this you would like to use. Sample use cases we're going to talk about today for AI and strategic portfolio management. There's the strategic planning aspect, right? To help us make data-driven decisions on the way we're going to build our strategies and the metrics around that. Our portfolio optimization to help us get the right mix of projects to support our strategies and maximize value for the organization. The work management piece to help manage the details around resources and tasks and timelines more effectively. There's the risk management pieces where to help us identify and mitigate potential risks in our portfolios, not just the ones that we identify ourselves. From a resource allocation perspective, we can optimize resource allocation across projects and team and get assistance from our AI assistant in Sofia GPT to make that happen. And then investment forecasting helps us organize and manage project cost budgets and track those and help alert us to things that require our attention so that we can redirect as needed. So these are just some of the areas that we're working on. And be aware that we are in the first, let's just say, releases of Sofia. And this is getting better very quickly over time as it learns more and it takes in more about what we're doing and the more aspects of what we're doing with strategic portfolio management in OnePlan. So let's start with the idea of AI-driven strategic planning in OnePlan. So what are some of the things that we can get accomplished? Well, we can definitely increase productivity by streamlining the OKR development process, reducing manual input, and even automating those tasks and creating a strategic plan. It can help us improve alignment by, analyzing business performance metrics and identifying areas for improvement and helping ensure alignment where it's missing. And then there's data-driven decision-making where it can use predictive analytics to forecast outcomes of our OKRs or objectives and key results, maybe identify certain roadblocks and help us make decisions to mitigate those things and overcome things that we're facing. And just overall optimization of those things is what we have available to us. Now today, what I want to do is go through just some samples here of questions that we could ask regarding strategy. And for example, a question might be, as we're looking at OnePlan's strategic plan, is provide a list of viable OKRs for a digital transformation office. So let's just say I'm trying to build a strategy for a digital transformation office. What might some of those OKRs be? And by asking it that question, if we look here, we click on Sofia, we ask it the question to provide me a list of 5 viable objectives and key results for digital transformation. And it will give me them. And it's suggesting now, it looks like it will suggest 5 objectives and supporting key results for this. So for example, improve the web, the objective is enhance the digital experience for customers, employees objective. And key result, improve website experience by reducing the average load time by 30% within 6 months. Achieve a minimum 90% satisfaction rate on digital service user surveys. The idea is it's giving me ideas here for a strategic plan of the things that I might want to consider for a digital transformation office. Now, if I go into a specific strategy, say, and I'm looking what kind of key results or tangible measures could I come up with for this objective of generate more marketing qualified leads, what would that potentially be? So if I ask it that question, provide a list of viable key results for this objective, it's going to look and it's going to do a little bit of thinking, and then it's going to give me some suggestions. So it gives me a list here of a number of possible key results. And if I look at the first one, increase conversion rate of website visitors to marketing qualified leads by 15% by optimizing website design, user experience, and calls to action. So this is a tangible measure that we can measure to get this overall objective and see that are we making progress towards doing that. Let's see, number 3, implement and refine a lead scoring system to accurately identify and prioritize the marketing qualified leads, MQLs, resulting in a 20% reduction in time spent on unqualified leads by the sales team. Make better use of our time by focusing on the more high quality leads, etc. But you get the idea. It's giving us suggestions on what some of those key measures might be that we might want to consider tracking. Another one on the strategy area, how about analyze business performance metrics and identifying areas for improvement? So if I run this one and it asks the question, analyze business performance metrics and identifying areas for improvement, I'll look here and let me just pause it after the first couple. And if I look at this, it says, once again, on the generate more marketing qualified leads tells me that that status is at risk because we are off track on that. And the key result is significantly off track. and that we need to monitor the component pieces of there, like email open rates, click-through rates, and conversion rates, and adjust and maybe change our tactics a little bit as we go through here. Or as we go in here and look at grow our corporate global business. This says it's on track, but then even though it's on track, we must ensure that the global expansion efforts are maintained or increased to achieve the desired sales growth. So there's some companion key results here that might have impact to achieving our overall strategy that these key results are designed to support. And then probably a fourth one is analyze data to identify patterns, opportunities, and potential risks. So if I go ask it that question and have it give me its take on that, it's going to give me a lot of details on patterns. Is that most of our higher priority objectives are related to product development, marketing, and corporate growth. It says here that we have a number of opportunities to improve our customer excellence, or transforming our corporate culture, or once again, generating the more marketing qualified leads. Potential risks, identifying some of these, about the at-risk objectives and listing what those might be that we want to focus on, or off-track objectives, and then basically said based on the analysis, it's recommending the organization more closely monitor the at-risk objectives and reallocate resources as needed to the more higher impact ones that we have on hand. So once again, natural language, asking these questions conversationally and coming up with a number of different things. Now, quite frankly, you could potentially phrase things and look at and get better at questioning Sofia and coming up with more in-depth or more focused answers depending on how you ask those questions. Exciting stuff. You know, analysis. We're getting an assistant that can help us, a sounding board for our ideas, etc., as we walk through that. Now, the portfolio optimization piece, you know, it can help here with data analysis on the portfolio and help us interpret what the context of our overall status of our portfolio really means to us. Helps us with prediction and forecasting on different scenarios. A risk assessment of where the risks are in our portfolio, and maybe even help us optimize that portfolio to some degree. So give me a couple more examples. Question might be, provide a summary of the portfolio data. So it's going to be looking at the portfolio data that's actually in OnePlan and give us a summary of what it thinks about that data. So let me run this one. And we'll ask it the question, provide me with a summary of the data in my portfolio. Pretty general question. And if we look at this, you can see that it's kind of tallying and summarizing some of the key points on active and proposed and on hold. You know, how many of our projects are on track, off track, the budget ranges, percent done on these, the prioritization scores of this, etc. So it's giving us some metrics in here compiled and tallied in a way that we can just look at it in a very succinct way. So it's helping us with an assessment of that information. Now, it may also ask a follow-on question in this particular case, which projects are highest risk and explain why. So if I continue to run this and let it ask us about this portfolio, it says the highest risk project is support customer using mobile, which has an at-risk status. And why has it selected that as the highest risk product? Well, one is it's because of its importance. It has a high prioritization score indicating that it's quite important and it's at risk. It has a number of different active issues that are causing concerns or delays in the project. And out of the total tasks, we have a number of them, or a high percentage, that are either late or not started yet, indicating that we're probably not going to deliver on time. And then we have a considerable budget variance, meaning we're overrunning on cost as well. So once again, factors that we should consider as we're looking at analysis of what maybe our highest risk, highest impact project might be. Now, we also have a what-if modeling capability within OnePlan called the Modeler. And it helps us in what we want to do with selecting projects, with what we want to do about the timing and the staging of projects, so when we're going to do things, let alone how we're going to do those, and assess how it aligns with our strategies, etc. Now, we might ask a question, which plans allow me to maximize benefits while minimizing budget, get the most bang for the buck, get the most benefits for the for the lowest investment? And if we ask it that question, we can maybe glean some insights from that. So as we're looking here and we look at the projects, it's giving us some benefits to budget ratios here to identify potentially which ones are the highest value ones for the maybe the best return on investment on the benefits, but also with the least investment. So we can ask those questions and have it assess that for us a little bit as we go through. On the follow-on to this, after it ranks all these, we might ask it a question, are there any projects that we can cancel, or which ones should I cancel? And as it's thinking, it gives me some criteria of what we should look at when deciding to cancel a project. And it's given me some candidates to think about things that, one, a couple that we already have on hold that we might consider just getting rid of altogether, and that there's other things that we might have to factor and consider into this as we get suggestions on which projects I should cancel. So once again, great insights again that might factor in, or does factor in, dimensions that we might not compile all into one analysis of our own. Now, if we go next into the area of work management, which is tactically executing on these plans with the projects and the tasks and all those things, there's things that OnePlan and Sofia can help you with on work plan creation. It can help create and manage work templates for common types of work and help put those things in place and give you suggestions on the best plans to put in place. Once again, risk assessment on a schedule basis level, down to the individual task level, and even suggestions on optimizing those schedules in the ways that we might better perform and deliver things more quickly and maybe in a more quality fashion. So these are things that we can tackle in here as well. So for the project managers, for example, this is a great assistance. So for example, my first question I might ask in here is, build a project schedule for smart home automation. So if I create a new plan with just maybe a sketching of data that's available to us about that, I could come in here and ask it, after I initially create a new project, I'm going to align it with a program here. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to give it some metadata to categorize this project a little bit. But then in the work plan itself, in the schedule, I'm going to ask it to create a template. Now, there's all kinds of ways. We can have stored templates, online templates, import templates, those types of things. But I'm going to ask the AI, Sofia, to generate a template. I'm going to ask it to create a template for a smart home automation system. And it, based on its experience and knowledge, has given me a template, allowing me the opportunity to map the resources to that template, and then actually put it into OnePlan as your schedule. And while I'm in there, I can actually come in here and do things like create dependencies across this, so we can have a sequencing of events, tailor this a little bit with the dimensions, or even add tasks to this, to the template, as I see fit. But once again, in those few steps, it gave me a base schedule or a template that I can work with as I go through. Now, the second question it might ask is, rank the tasks by highest risk in that template. And in that, it's basically given me some information and ranked the task by the highest risk. Number one is develop smart home is critical to the task of the project because it involves integrating various hardware and software components in a seamless manner. So it is high risk just by the nature of the work there. We might look at, let's look at number 5, deployment and maintenance. The risk is medium, but the deployment and maintenance may be at risk because deploying a smart home system requires careful planning and execution that all the components are installed correctly and they function seamlessly together. There may be some network configuration issues, there might be compatibility, and other things that we might encounter as we go through. So it's raising these as potential risks to succeeding with this build home automation system. And then I guess as we go to another use case on work management, we could optimize the schedule, duration, and cost for this smart home automation system. So if I go in here and say, okay, it's given me this template, maybe the way I've laid it out, maybe I can optimize this a little bit because I did put some dependencies in there and I sequence things. So what I might want to do is highlight number 1, where I could sit here and say, there's some things I could do in parallel that would save 2 days. I could do to define the project scope and identify stakeholders together. On number 2, I might go back and let me go back here in the optimization. And it was giving me a summary and saying that there's work I can do in parallel. There's work that I could combine in order to save some things. So we can overlap and do things concurrently to save 10 days in here. And then overall, it can give me an idea of what that optimized schedule would be. So at the bottom here, it's basically showing me the schedule that it proposes down below and when it should happen with all the effort that's there. So it's basically optimized the schedule that's in there today and will reduce my overall duration by 9 days, from 58 to 49 days. So the effort would remain the same, but we can optimize the schedule and reduce cost by reducing the resource time spent on each task. So the idea here is that this optimization can be very powerful as we try to use this in the more tactical and the scheduling sense within the solution. If we take this to the concept of risk identification and mitigation, we can use Sofia to help us identify and categorize risks. We can predict future risks that we may not have considered yet, and maybe even recommend mitigation strategies once those are identified to make sure that we have a plan for how to deal with them as they come up. So in this particular case, the question is, identify potential risks and how to mitigate them. In this particular case, it's going to go into our risks area, which we have not built any risks yet, and ask this question. And as we go in here, it says the potential risks of privacy and security risks. That gives us the potential risks in that area. It gives us mitigation strategies. It gives us interoperability and compatibility risks, and it gives us the potential risks there and mitigation strategies. So it's giving us risks by categories, the specific the potential risks that are there, and then suggesting mitigation strategies that we can put in place to help us avoid those risks. Once again, great information, great analysis that would take us huge amounts of time and effort if we could ever come to that combined analysis on our own. Then there's the resource capacity planning. Big pain for people and organizations doing portfolio management is the overall resource capacity planning. And Sofia can help us with resource allocation, with the capacity planning itself and putting those plans in place, optimizing plans that we already have in place, and then even predictive talent acquisition to see what skill sets or what roles we might need to hire to, or where we might be overstaffed. So as we look through that and we come into something like this, we're going to ask it to rank the highest risk resources and explain why they're considered higher risks. So while we're in this resource plan for the smart home automation system, what are the highest risk resources and why? So number 1, Jin Yang is a high risk because just severely overallocated. If we look at number 5 here, the project manager, we're at risk because we haven't identified a name, a person for that project manager role yet. And on number 6 with Russ, team composition, we've got multiple business analysts on here, and it doesn't appear that there's a clear delineation of roles, and there might be some confusion in communication, maybe even duplication of effort. So the idea here is that there's some resource analysis based upon the nature of the resource plan that's put in there. Now, we could even use it to help us build a resource plan. If we looked at providing a sample resource plan by hours and by month for this plan and this shipping and delivery plan, I can ask it to actually build a resource plan for us, which is incredible, that it can take a look at the nature of this and put together a plan based upon the time frame of that project and the staging of it and when resources should be there. In this particular case, it's suggesting these roles. It's suggesting a plan with the hours per month that we would need. It's even looking at things like the timing. It's looking at like we're going to need a project manager for level effort across the whole thing, but it's also saying we're going to need QA more back-ended into this, into that. Or we're going to need the UX and UI designer more front-ended into that process. And it's giving us all those considerations that it put into place when we put that plan into place. And we can leverage that and put that plan in for this particular project. Now, we could also try to optimize resource utilization. And in a particular plan that's already put in place, and as things change over time and we want to continually try to optimize this, can you optimize resource utilization by identifying opportunities to reduce waste, improve efficiency, and increase productivity? And it's thinking just a little bit, because we've asked it a complex set of things to consider. And it will come back to us pretty quickly with what it is it thinks. And it's identifying the over allocations that we should focus on. It's giving us an idea to cross-train some employees that might be underutilized that could provide multiple roles that we want, streamlining processes, utilize some resource leveling, and planning for contingencies. So there's a number of things it's giving us as suggestions to optimize this, both tangibly as far as specific areas to do and some things more subjectively to consider as we do that. So once again, helpful information that Sofia provided us that we might not have come up with on our own. And then if we're short on resources, which we often are, we could look at an overall resource capacity plan that it factors in all the initiatives and all the resource allocations in there. And you can see we have a lot of red and over allocation in this particular resource plan. If I come in here and I want to ask it, what resources do I need to hire or where am I short? It's going to think about that, and it's going to give me an idea what it thinks that should be. So as it's listing these things out, it's giving me some analysis on this. It's telling me that high workload for business analysts coming up with multiple overage and committed hours. It's giving me an idea of what we need on the developer ranks. IT project managers have substantial workload and some overages in certain periods. So we may need some additional resources there. So the idea is it's all based upon the data that's in there and projections, and Sofia will even look at historical context as well. So if we come in here and we're going to ask it another question, how many resources would I need to hire by role in order to make that happen? To take this yet another step further, to drill in, it basically says I'm going to need 2 additional IT business analysts, 2 to 3 additional developers, 1 additional marketing specialist. Looks like I'm fine in human resources and finance and in operations. But in IT project managers, I need 1 to 2 additional resources to handle the workload. So once again, giving me a look ahead on my staffing requirements, not just with the tactical things that I'm working on right now. And then there's the financial aspect of this, where we're talking about investment forecasting and predictive analysis, where we can predict forecasting of costs and identify patterns and predict future costs. Optimize spending, provide real-time insights into where we need to make some adjustments and where corrective actions might be needed. So here I'm looking at a financial plan in OnePlan, and I'm going to ask it, what are the key insights and trends that can be inferred from the financial data? And as I look at this, it's going to ask the question. And as it goes through this, it's giving me a list of things to consider in its analysis. I'm going to give it a second here to do this. So if we look at this, number 3 says project manager, expenses showed an unusually high spike in November 2023, which is significantly higher than other months. This suggests there may be an important project milestone or activity during this month that necessitates additional project management efforts or resources. Or is that spike an anomaly? Once again, it's calling our attention to a nuanced spike that we might have to take a look at, okay? Let's continue. It's going to ask a second question in here, about does it have any recommendations? And in that, we asked it, it's basically going to tell us that review budget allocation for critical phases. Since there's an increase in the budget for developer between September and October, it's essential to reconfirm that that's indeed the case. On the 3, it's investigate, again, that spike in the project manager costs, and does that spending really need to happen in order to make that happen, as well as some other things to consider. It's even got a polite response to a thank you that we gave it, and gave us a "you're welcome," and it gives us, wishes us good luck on our project and financial planning. I guess the last one I'm going to go through here, hopefully you're finding these interesting. I find them exciting because this is stuff that we just months ago we didn't have access to. And here I can ask it to actually help me write a project summary email for my manager for this particular project, support customer using mobile app. And I'm asking it to write it a summary email about the context of this particular project. And here it is, putting in an email format. Hope this finds you well. Stating the project objectives, encapsulating the progress that's been made, key metrics on budget, forecast, and actuals and variance, current effort and how much has been done so far, project health KPIs, and what's on track and what's at risk, what's happening on the next phase of the project, things that we need to keep an eye on. And once again, all in an email format that we can send and copy and send off to our manager. Pretty exciting stuff. It understands a lot of this based on the data that's there, its experience, and the knowledge it has from the learning that it's been given. So exciting stuff. So hopefully you saw some samples in those areas, whether it be the strategy area, the portfolio area, what if analysis, the work management tactically with tasks, risk assessment, resource capacity, and financial. These are just some of the areas that we're tackling. And this is just going to only advance from this point forward. And I want to reiterate to you that OnePlan with Sofia GPT is available now. Even if you trial OnePlan right now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, you'll get access to Sofia GPT and be able to see for yourself how powerful this is. Now, if I was going to give you an example just to show you, Sofia, wherever you're at in the application, Sofia is available to us here in the lower right-hand portion. And if I can ask Sofia, it will give us some examples of things that we might want to ask, right? It might say, I could even invent one. I could just say, what objective would failure have the greatest impact? And that I didn't even phrase that right. And I'm just doing this on the fly. And let's let it think for a little bit and see what it comes up with. So it's failure in the objective launch new product successfully would likely have the greatest impact, as it has a high prioritization score of 87.5, and it's crucial for the company's growth and competitive in the market. Meaning if that failed, that would have the greatest impact of all the ones that we have in here. So just an example that this is all real, and you can actually do this and ad hoc, ask it the natural language things that you want to ask it. So in summary, strategic portfolio management has become important in today's business environment for all the reasons we stated earlier on. It's just a fast-paced, fast-changing world that's gotten more complex. This increased complexity and the fast pace of change requires enhanced method and approaches that SPM provides. We got to take our game to the next level. And then OnePlan provides end-to-end strategic portfolio management in the Microsoft cloud. So those of you that are in Microsoft, OnePlan is designed to just plug right into what you're doing there. And it provides the capabilities we showed you here today, right in your ecosystem. And the use of AI provides valuable assistance and insights to our SPM efforts, as hopefully we demonstrated just a touch of what you can do here. And Sofia GPT within OnePlan provides AI-enabled capabilities in OnePlan to make users more efficient and effective. And Sofia is available now in OnePlan. It's included in the OnePlan solution. It's not something extra. It's included in the solution itself. And just to reiterate, it doesn't leverage, ChatGPT or OpenAI in general. It leverages Azure OpenAI and OnePlan data specifically for secure and safe use of this AI. And there are options within OnePlan itself to settings to what degree you'd like to use this. So whatever level you're comfortable with, you can enable it. Now, OnePlan is passionate about this area of project and portfolio management. It's demonstrated by the fact, as a Microsoft partner, we have been recognized 3 of the last 4 years as their global project and portfolio management partner of the year. And our focus is not as a general systems integrator, but in this discipline. It's something that we really live and breathe every day. And even the analysts like Gartner and Infotech have recognized us for the things and the thought leadership we've done in this area. Now, you can get started with a free trial of OnePlan today. If you go to oneplan.ai/solutions, it gives you the ability to request a trial, or you can get a trial up on Microsoft's App Source. And if you want all the capabilities that we showed you here today, we have different solution templates available out there that are available for you to use. But if you want the full, most robust one, the strategic portfolio management one has all those aspects in it. It's got the strategic plan with the OKRs. It's got the enterprise architecture element capabilities in there. It's got the portfolios and the resource plans and all the things that we showed you here today. So I would highly recommend, if you were interested in the breadth and depth of what you saw here today, that this is the template you'd want to get started with. And we're happy to support you and chaperone you through that trial. So feel free to reach out. You don't have to tackle that all on your own. If you're interested on what it would take to get from where you're at into a solution like this, we do offer a free roadmap workshop to people that come to these webinars. And we would do a brief discovery to look at your current use of tools and solutions, assess your current requirements and the desired future state of where you want to be next, and determine how to implement or migrate into a new solution, and maybe how to put together an implementation roadmap for the best adoption success, and which pieces of these you might be most likely to be able to succeed with and sustain in your next step on your road to PPM or SPM maturity. We can even help you with a total cost of ownership evaluation, because we leverage a lot of tools that you might already own, meaning this might only be an incremental investment for you. So the free trial, please do take advantage of that, and don't feel you have to do it alone. Engage with us, and we're happy to chaperone you. You can reach out at contact@oneplan.ai to get assistance, or you can enlist us that way for a roadmap workshop. Or if you just got teased a little bit by what you saw here today and you want a more personalized demo in depth of the strategic portfolio management or SPM capabilities, or more in depth into what we can do with Sofia or any other aspects of an SPM solution, please contact us, and we're happy to schedule a personalized, more in-depth, targeted one-on-one demo for you. You can even investigate more about the solutions at oneplan.ai, our website. So at this point, I would like to thank you all for your time and attention today on this exciting topic. Hopefully you can tell that I'm excited. Hopefully you're getting excited about this as well. We really think of us as the power of one hub for this information, one hub for the knowledge to be brought together and be put into place for all aspects of strategic portfolio management. If you want to reach out to me directly, you'll get a copy of these slides. There's my email down below. I'm happy to engage with you as well. But we have a number of wonderful, great people here that can support you at OnePlan that live and breathe this stuff. So OnePlan does provide you one interface, one experience, and one plan for all this information. Thank you again, and have a great day.